So, on this episode of WOW Superheroes, we have two managers who got handcuffed to two people that they really don't like. We had a tag team title match in the debut of a new superhero again. This is Steph and Kat Talk WOW.
Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs, and the room is stutters. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, so I just made it up the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate.
Hey y'all, welcome to the best WOW after show ever created. This is Steph and Cat Talk WOW, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. Of course, I'm your girl Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, color commentator for the Belladonna Division Battle Club Pro, Black Girl Magic 2022, and Spartan Wrestling, and contributing writer for Daily DDT. But of course, I am not alone. I am here with the amazing super mom, creator of In Cat We Trust, amazing writer, and just all around fantastic person and creator of the Women of Color in Wrestling panel, Katrina Blake. How are you, Kat?
I am fine. It's been busy, but I am fine. Happy to be here. Happy to talk. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. Life is lifing, but we are trying to surf this wave as much as we possibly can. But in the midst of that, we have wrestling to make us happy. So, Kat, before we get into the nitty-gritty, how did you feel about this episode of WOW? Felt like we just saw each other considering we had our episode Friday. So if you haven't caught that already, please watch that episode. But yeah.
No, it was a really solid episode. I liked the matches we got. I liked the development of some of the stories, even with this new member of a team, which we will be getting to it very shortly. But I thought it was a really solid episode.
Yeah, it was a really solid episode. And weirdly enough, I felt like it went by really fast. Like, usually, even though the show is only an hour, it's just like I felt like this episode went by incredibly fast. Like, the matches were really well paced. And for some reason, even the narrative stuff just went by like really quickly. And I'm just like, yo, what is going on? Like, is it me? Is it time? Like, or is it like the air? What's going on? But either way, the episode was pretty fire. Of course, they have announced further that WOW will be having more live shows in December at the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles, California. So if you are there in the LA area, please go out and support WOW Women of Wrestling at the Belasco Theater. They put on an amazing show, so please go see them and you'll be a part of the tapings. You might wind up on screen on a future episode. So please go and support the women of WOW, because you are going to get an amazing show with lots of amazing people and amazing champions. And speaking of amazing champions, we started off WOW with the WOW Tag Team Titles match between the Tonga Twins, Chaos and Kona, versus G.I. Jane and a new debuting WOW superhero, the Classmaster. And they came out, of course, with Samantha Smart. And something that I did find out is the fact that Samantha is building herself a little team, a little faction, kind of like the Fab Four and kind of like, Las Bandidas and Tormenta with Sophia Lopez. And her team will be called IQ Superior. And this is where kind of the Classmaster came from. She's from the same board of education that the disciplinarian is from. So a part of us, like a part of me was wondering, like, oh, well, who is this Classmaster and what happened to the disciplinarian? But hopefully we'll be able to see her a little bit later on in the season. But this episode actually started with a title match instead of having it at the main event, which I felt like was definitely a cool change of pace. And Yeah, it was just really cool. And also for those who are watching live, thank you, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere else. If you're watching, thank you for watching and feel free to chime in the comments. If you watch this weekend's episode of WoW and who your favorite WoW superheroes are so far in the second season. So yeah, this tag team match was fire. It was a really great way to start. Now, of course, before this match got started, they did announce what the main event was going to be, which is another tag team match between Miami Sweet Heat and Las Bandidas. But the stipulation was going to be that Sophia Lopez, the world's greatest attorney, and the fabulous Lana Star had to be handcuffed to the mother truckers because this was the mother truckers' idea because they were in the office with David McLane, the owner, as they were trying to get something else situated. But then Sophia and Lana interrupted them and they decided to volunteer to be the women that they were handcuffed to. So I thought that was really funny, a funny way to start the show. But this was the first match. So this match was insane and it was very athletic. G.I. Jane and Kona started off with two lockups, but then G.I. Jane went for a headlock to Kona, but then Kona reversed it and tackled G.I. Jane. It seemed like G.I. Jane was really well, no, I won't say that. Jane went for a big boot, but then Kona ducked it, and then her and Chaos came in and then slammed her down onto the mat. And then they slammed G.I. Jane with a hip attack and a splash in the corner, as well as G.I. Jane was trash talking the referee and just yelling at her like a drill sergeant would, because you know she's from that ilk. But then Chaos got tagged in with the Classmaster, and seeing as this was her debut match, of course we had to keep a specific eye on her and how she wrestles. And she really did shock Chaos in the first going of them, you know, fighting each other in that match. She pushed Chaos into the corner and gave forearms to Chaos's chest. The Classmaster hit a big boot to Chaos as Samantha Smart tripped up Kona off of the apron. So they really were playing dirty, but the Classmaster is a really powerful girl, and it really seemed like Chaos wasn't expecting that from her. But then again, what can you expect from someone you've never seen wrestle before? But the Classmaster really showed that she really did her homework. Haha, funny pun. And really did give her best in this match alongside G.I. Jane. But at one point, she got really cocky. And because, well, and then before that happened, G.I. Jane and the Classmaster executed a double submission to Chaos, which was a Boston Crab and a crossface. And then they hit a double elbow to Chaos. And yeah, like these women were really giving it to them. And the Classmaster was really impressive. But Kona and the Classmaster got the hot tag, and Kona popped off with a clothesline, a slap, and a series of Sabat kicks to G.I. Jane and the Classmaster. And after Kona lifted her up for a fireman's carry, the Classmaster tried to break it up, but they hit a 3D. Which they called a double vision, which was shades of the Dudley Boys, in order to end the match. And still, your WoW Tag Team Champions are the Tonga Twins. And I'm so happy that they won because this match was really good. It was very athletic and full of power moves, and I really enjoyed it, and it was a great way to start. But they didn't celebrate for long because the last call, Reina Del Rey and oh my gosh, I almost called her by her other name. And Wrecking Ball came out there and insulted them for being twins and such, and was like, "Oh yeah, they're so cool because they're twins and all this other stuff." And they basically, you know, insulted them and challenged them for a tag team title match, to which the Tonga Twins accepted it. So later on down the line, we will probably see those two imposing tag teams fight each other for the tag team titles. So Katrina, how did you feel about this match and the debut of the Classmaster?
I thought it was a really good match. I like that the fact that this is a debut. This is the first debut we got in a tag team this season, and so to have, you know, I feel like it's a little bit harder to really shine sometimes in a tag team match if you're not you kind of working with the person you're in the ring with, and this is not even like a bad thing necessarily, just because you're kind of being introduced to the audience for the first time. when you already have other teams kind of established. And so for her to, do that and still really show off in regards to what she can do. And yes, she is definitely somebody who has some strength to her, which is something I've said a few weeks ago about, like, the Tongers are tough. They're tough ladies, and they're going to have more people that are also tough that's going to be coming for them and coming for those titles. And so it was definitely, like, nice to see that their first real challenge outside of Miami Sweet Heat, again, no shade to those ladies, is some, two people who also are very tough and can handle, being slammed a bit around the ring or thrown around the ring. They can handle it, unlike some of the maybe the other solo competitors in WoW. And so I thought this was a really, really good showing for Classmaster, and why I'm extremely happy that the Tonga Twins kept it. I needed to hold them for long because of everything it took for them to get those titles in the first place. I still think this is a really good showing. And even though we were questioning about where the disciplinarian was, it's just she's not here for that episode. And so that's fine. And so I do like that Samantha seems to be working on her own accord, which is what I've been saying, that I'm seeing we're getting more people, like, well, we can do a faction too, or we can have a squad too. And I like that she's also doing that. Another group of people that, would this be a problem for the Fab Four later on its capacity? You guys can't be bullying everybody in the locker room. And so this is another team that might be a bit problematic, not just for the Tongas, but just even for the Fab Four, or even for Sophia Lopez's girls, And so I thought it was a really good way to open the show. I enjoyed Tonga Twins winning, but I think, even though, G.I. Jane and the Classmaster didn't win, I feel like Samantha should really feel proud of the girls. They did their thing. And again, I really can't wait to see what the Classmaster do solo, because, when they have the times they have them, allow them to have, like, their solo matches, because she was great.
Yeah, like they were absolutely fantastic. And I love that the Classmaster was able to, like, pop off the way that she did in that match. Um, I was very surprised to see G.I. Jane back in tag action, so quickly, because we did see her, get her solo stuff going for a little bit. So the idea that we did see her, move so quickly back to the tag division was just like, oh, okay, well, here we are. But at least, her and the Classmaster seem to have a little bit of, chemistry with that. But you just can't fight or defeat the Tonga Twins, because they won those tag team titles and had to fight tooth and nail to win them. So after they won them, of course, they want to prove that they can be a substantial tag team. So I'm really glad that they were able to retain. And yeah, they do have a target on their backs, because a lot of these women who are equal to them in strength and size want to go after them for those tag titles. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. And GI Jane and the Classmaster really showed that they can, put the pedal to the metal when it comes to, those championship implications. Now, Eric Isaac, who's watching on YouTube, thank you for watching, is saying that he can't wait for that Tonga Twins last call title match in the future. Yeah, I can't wait either. Like, I feel like those women are really going to destroy each other, and I'm really pumped about that. But the Tonga Twins are still the WOW Tag Team Champions, so big ups to them for that. And a really great, showing for the beginning of the show. Now, the second match was Katarina Jinx versus Coach Campanelli. Now, we hadn't seen Katarina since she made her debut against Candy Crush, the Gatekeeper. And yeah, like we just really hadn't seen her. And now she's back. And she's back to, I guess, prove a point to Coach Campanelli, who, of course, was dealing with tag stuff with Ariel Sky and the Brat Pack. But of course, they've talked about how she is on the lookout for the newest member of Team Spirit. And Ariel Sky wasn't with her, side by side for this match. So she was able to sort of stand on her own 2 feet here, even though we've seen her fight in singles matches before. Now, Katarina, since she did lose to Candy Crush, she definitely came out swinging and had a point to prove. And let me just say, her outfit is a slay. Like, Katarina's outfit, like from the gloves with the cat eyes, the makeup, like the skirt that she has on before, of course, she reveals her, gear, like, and even the whip, like all of it is just a complete slay. And I just love it. I just love it. Just looking at it and just how dramatic she was with the whip and everything and everybody trying to move out the way like pow, like oh my god, don't hit me. Like it's just I just love it. Like it's just a complete slay and it's just giving Catwoman 3.0 and I just need more of it in my life. Like don't let us wait so long to see you on TV because you are an actual slay. Like and I need her to hear that and to know that. Like Katarina, you are a slay. Okay? Don't leave us. But yeah, this match was really fantastic. Like Coach Campanelli is someone that we've definitely had our eye on since the first season, and her in-ring acumen has definitely gotten way better. Not saying that it was ever bad, but Miss Ma'am has definitely been working in the lab and getting herself together because there was a huge part of this match where it felt like she was dominant, but then of course Katarina switched it around with her acrobatic skills and her flexibility because in this picture, as you can see, Coach Campanelli started with a headlock, and then Katarina tried to get loose, but then she locked her in another headlock and worked her down onto the mat. But then Katarina used her flexibility to lock in like a triangle choke in the beginning part. And it's just really fascinating to see Katarina use her legs the way that she does because she's just so flexible. Like, I wonder what a match between her and Adriana Gambino would be because those are women who are so flexible when it comes to their legs, due to not Katarina, but due to Adriana's background in ballet, like she uses her legs quite a lot. And so with that, I'm wondering what a match between her and Katarina would be like because it would be a battle of the legs or a battle of the limbs. And I would be very excited and ecstatic to see them do that. And there were a couple of points where Katarina was trying to kick her, but then Coach had it scouted and really did move out of the way. And there was another point where Katarina actually like tried to choke her out on the ropes and even scratched her back with those long cat-like claws. And I was like, oh, ow, it was bad. But in a really impressive part, like there were two impressive parts in this match, and I wrote down the word impressive next to it. The first impressive part was when Coach ducked Katarina's clothesline attempt and then she ran the ropes and then she leaped through Katarina's legs as she rolled under her and then stood up and prepped a kick. And then Coach Campanelli caught it and then served a dragon screw leg whip and a clothesline to Katarina Jinx into the corner. And then Coach hit a snapmare to Jinx and then ran on top of her back and hit a drop kick. That was one of the most impressive parts of that match. And I was like, y'all better get it. This is what women's wrestling is about. This is what we need in our lives and in our veins every single day. It was so impressive. And then the second most impressive part of this match was when Katarina actually grabbed on to Coach Campanelli's arms and walked on the top rope just like the Undertaker, given a little old school, right? But then when she tried to jump and hit Coach's arms, Coach reversed it and hit her buzzer beater for the win. So Coach Campanelli won the match, and this was just really good, considering she had been beefing with the Brat Pack for so long. To see her get this win in a singles match was really good, and Katarina has nothing to be ashamed of because she was very impressive. But Coach got the win here. So Katrina, how did you feel about this match? Hi, John Ross from Florida.
I thought this was a really good match. We have been seeing Coach Campanelli, there was a lot of going on in the last season. We wasn't really sure what was going on with her team, where she was, I guess, feeling by herself, or what she felt as part of her team. And we kind of been like, okay, well, what's happening with Coach? And so for her to kind of, go against somebody who really, it wasn't like this was like an easy match necessarily for Coach Campanelli. I felt like Katarina went, I feel like even harder in this match than she might have done when she was at Candy Crush. I feel like she was trying even more so to prove herself in this. And so to have an opponent like Katarina who really kind of didn't really let up too much and this still was able to kind of pull up a win and victory over her speaks again to Coach's tenacity of trying to do what she needs to do in a situation. I hopefully we'll get a little bit more insight into what she's doing as far as I know she's supposed to be looking for team members to see what the next step is for her team and for what her group, is going to do next, if she's going to change up with maybe having somebody closer to how she is. We had two people in Randy and in area who are very both like, while they're different because you have one that's cheerleader and you have one that was like, the gymnast, you still have them both more high flying type, things, while she was more to the mat. And so I'm curious if she's going to do something similar, or she's going to try to go completely different and go on a whole different route with this coach type, you know, aspects, looking for a new teammate. And so I would like to know where that's going. And I'm glad, I feel like this, if anything, should give her a little bit of boost or a little pep in her step. Like, okay, I still got it, and like maybe she could focus back on the team. I felt like, it was a lot that she was dealing with before, and she was able to, like, finally kind of get and overcome after all the thing that was been happening in the last couple of weeks. And so good for her. I think, again, this was a really, really well done match, and it speaks to her. Again, this wasn't necessarily an easy opponent, and you only got one match for Katarina. That was with Candy, to kind of see how you're going to play off with, like, scouting, for instance. And so, good match. Again, I'm really excited about what we're getting with Katarina. I agree with the outfit. Uh, and also probably a little biasly so because we have very similar name. But I also like, again, that coach. You see her. Hopefully, this will put a little bit boost for her to going forward of what she's planning on doing next with her new team or whatever she may decide to do. If she even just leaves it and just be her in Ariel, we'll see. But otherwise, really solid match.
Yeah, this definitely does give a boost to Coach Campanelli. And in a sense, like later on, of course, we'll talk more about what she's going to be doing in her search for the next new member of Team Spirit. But if anything, those people who are watching who want to, go for Team Spirit are seeing, what type of athlete she is and how she's able to back up, what it is that she's asking for or what it is that she's looking for. Because a lot of the time, people, when it comes to whether it comes to auditions or whether it comes to tryouts, a lot of people look for qualities that they themselves can't back up. And I find that it's amazing that Coach Campanelli is such a great athlete all around that she can back up a lot of the things of what she's looking for. If she wants somebody that's just as agile as she is, she can say that she's agile. Like if she's looking for somebody as quick as she is, she can say that she's quick and she can teach them how to be a little bit quicker if that's the case. So I think that this match was definitely an amazing showing for that. And it definitely gives Team Spirit more of a boost in what it is that they're looking for. So I am excited about that. I'm still wondering about Katarina's place, considering, this is her second match and she has lost here again, because she is new and she does have, the ability to build herself up. But at the same time, I do want to see her, lock in a little bit more and, start getting some victories because, these are the new girls and you want to see the new girls, sort of, strike out and, stand on their own in a division that's just full of amazing talent that we're used to and not used to at the same time. So, yeah, I can't wait to see more of what Katarina Jinx has to offer. And hopefully, it won't be so long before we see her again. But yeah, Coach Campanelli came out with the win. So, after this match, we got a little bit of a promo visit from Fury, the heavy metal sister. She made references to a number of singers who broke out from their rock or pop rock bands, like Ozzy Osbourne, Stevie Nicks, Iggy Pop, Joan Jett, and Gwen Stefani, and how she mentioned that the one thing that these people had in common was the fact that they struck out on their own, took a chance on themselves and created iconic solo careers. Now, of course, when I think of people who created an amazing solo career after being in a group for such a long time, I think of Beyonce, because you can't deny her star power at this point. But of course, the women of Destiny's Child have gone on to do amazing things in their own right. Like, don't just discount Kelly, Michelle, Latoya, and Latavia just because they're not as big as Beyonce, but at the same time, they're still doing amazing stuff. And it's just like, you do have to take a chance on yourself and you do have to believe in yourself to make that big of a move, because it's easy to stay in what you know and stay in what you're used to, but sometimes you really do have to strike out on your own. Me and Katrina know a lot about that now. um we're learning that each and every day, but either way, we're making it happen, right? So it's okay. So in the midst of that, Fury wants to do that, and she wants to go after the heaviest metal in WoW, which is the WoW World Championship. And this made me happy because Fury is someone whose personality I've actually grown warm to, especially since that one time she was on commentary with David and Steven. Like, I loved her voice. I just loved her energy when it came to watching Rebel Hayes in action. So that was really cool. So, yeah, like, I'm here for Fury believing in herself. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this promo and how did you feel about her declaration of breaking out into her own solo career?
I respect it. There was a bit of this alluded to in the last season. There was a lot of like discord between the group. Mesmera, she wasn't really in too many matches last season either. And so to have this amount of discord and kind of figuring out what your place is, I think it's a good thing. And sometimes you just, not that you want to leave your family or leave your friends behind, is not necessarily that, but sometimes you kind of need to do something and prove things to yourself. And I think that's where she's at. I think she's trying to prove something to herself. And if she can go out on her own and get a title shot or even win a title, well, that says she, bet on herself and made the right choice. And so I respect it. I think there's nothing wrong with her feeling like sometimes you just kind of have to see what you can do on your own. See what, you might change things up or switch up how you do things. I think, I respect it. Now as far as who she won the match against, I'm like, oh, okay. That's an interesting first match, knowing how her opponent is in WoW in particular. But I respect everything she had to say because sometimes exactly what it is, as you mentioned, you kind of have to just bet on yourself and see what that'll take you or where you're gonna go from there.
Absolutely. So this led, of course, into our third match, which was, of course, Holidead versus Fury. And Holidead is someone who has been really dominant this season. And of course, she used to be in a tag team with Siren the Voodoo Doll. But David mentioned on commentary that Siren is taking a little bit of a break from things. So who knows? She might be, concocting new spells of strength. But either way, we wish her the best because we don't want her casting a spell on us. So yeah, Holiday has been really dominant in this season of WoW, and to see her go up against someone like Fury, who really does want to, strike out on her own and have her own amazing solo career and be the Stevie Nicks of WoW, was just an amazing combination of talented people here. Like I really loved it. We can't say enough good things about Holiday that hasn't already been said. um, but Fury really did, prove that she was ready for the challenge. Okay. Miss Fury popped off in a big way. So Holiday came in hot with a big boot. Like she was ready to fight immediately. But Fury ducked it and hit a Thesz press and proceeded to punch her in her head over and over again. But then Holiday started trading blows with her as well. And they started trading more punches and forearms. But then Holiday kneed Fury's stomach and then threw her into the bottom rope, which really looked like it hurt because those ropes are thick, ladies and gentlemen. Those are really thick ropes, okay? Then Holiday gave a suplex to Fury over the ropes, and then she hit leg drops to Fury's chest. Just classic vintage Holiday here, just destroying her opponents bit by bit with her force. And then Fury decided to sort of, she ducked another leg drop attempt from Holiday, and then Fury hit a sliding drop kick to Holiday outside of the ring, and then she brought her back in and hit a step up senton, and I thought that was really impressive as well. Then Fury met, at one point Holiday actually adjusted Fury into the ropes of the ring corner and started kicking both of her thighs. And I was just like, ow, like, why are you kicking the inside of my thighs? That just looked really painful. Like, I can't believe that. And the referee actually had to stop her. So after all of that, Holiday gave her a suplex, as you can see in this picture. And she yelled at the ref and said, I got her out the corner, ref. And I was just like, Holiday can be really forceful when it comes to yelling at people and mocking the crowd. Like, it's just so insane how she'll do that. But then Fury actually hit a flatliner onto Holiday after one point and had a near fall. But here's where it gets interesting. Angelica Dante and Chainsaw came out in the entrance that the women go through to get to the ring. And Chainsaw looked like she wanted to get to fighting with Holidead. And so after Holidead hit another suplex onto Fury, she was, beckoning for Chainsaw to come out to the ring and fight her. She was like, come on, come fight me, come fight me. But Angelica was like pushing Chainsaw back, like saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But then as Holidead was jaw jacking at Chainsaw, she gets a surprise roll up from Fury, and Fury wins the match in, I guess you could kind of say, an upset. Yeah, kind of an upset. She wins the match with a surprise roll up, and Holiday and Chainsaw are angry at each other. They try to get ready to fight each other, but the referees break them up. And yeah, that's how that encounter ended. But it was really interesting. It was a pretty solid match. But what happened afterward was really insane. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match, and how do you feel about the impending rivalry of Holiday and Chainsaw?
Well, I'm not surprised. We've been seeing Chainsaw in the last few weeks. She was involved in stuff, and Holiday kind of had to put her like in her place without really saying too much. She's been putting her in a place, and I'm guessing Chainsaw after thinking about it, because at first it seemed like she was listening to Holiday. I think that ship has sold. I don't think she listened anymore, and this is obvious by her wanting to fight her during the match. Should this have been said probably before the match? Probably. Why wait these many weeks to say something after it was twice or three times she kind of stopped you from doing stuff? Why wait now to say something? Like, ma'am, you had plenty of time to say something, Chainsaw. Like, why do you have to wait? And then your sister, and even the thing with like, because I'm like, I know Angelica was saying stop, but I was like, you let her walk all the way out here. You didn't stop her before she got out the ring. I feel like, as a, I'm a sister. I get it. I get how stuff works. But I don't know. It was a very weird thing for me, just in regards to her waiting for that moment to want to complain or feel like she wants to fight Holiday in the middle of a match. And so I will say it's an upset only because it did appear that Holiday had the match in the bag. And this again, I thought Fury did well. I thought there was times I was like, okay, you can see that she is also have been getting better from the last times we've seen her solo in the last season. So clearly she's been learning some stuff, and you saw that. And so not that she like got manhandled or anything, it's not that, but I did think Holiday was gonna win it. And so they kind of have like, oh, okay. I do think Holiday's not going to be really happy about the fact that she lost. I feel like she's going to try to get Fury back, and I'm sure she's going to try to go after Chainsaw off principle. I don't find it like she's going to let that necessarily slide. Uh, so it was a good match either way. I just was like, oh, okay, well, this is an interesting turn of events, because ma'am, you had plenty of weeks to say something. You didn't say that, and all this time now you wait till she got a match to be like, I want to fight. Like, this could have been a text. I don't know. I feel like this is not the way that you should have went by this, but otherwise, I do think Fury really, she's definitely getting better from when we saw her, as far as her first time we saw her solo last season to now. I think she's definitely been learning, getting some things up in there, and that's a really good thing if she wants the title.
Yeah, it is a really good thing because, for better or for worse, whether Chainsaw came out there or not, if she had hit that, roll up, she would have won that match. And that's still an amazing, accomplishment for her to say, especially after you declared that you want to go after the Wild World title. So it's just Fury has nothing to be ashamed of in how she won. She was just being really methodical in how she won because there was that distraction going on. And you're really right about the idea that Chainsaw waited to interfere in Holiday's matches because Holiday has done nothing but interfere in her business over the past few weeks. It's like Chainsaw had a match and she was on a rampage, and Holiday was the only person to calm her down. When Chainsaw was on a rampage behind the scenes, and she was throwing the WoW superheroes in the back through walls and throwing them, into mirrors and stuff like that. Holiday was the only one to stop her from doing all of that. So it's amazing that it took Chainsaw this long to actually come out here and be like, yeah, like you've been in my business, I'm gonna get in your business. Yeah, you're right, in the sense that it could have been a text or it could have been an email. But yeah, like it's funny how it happens that way, but now it's clear that they're standing on equal footing when it comes to getting in each other's business in this way. And Holiday, she is a person who is bent on revenge because we have seen her play mind games with the likes of Candy Crush, in terms of mind games with stuff like that she wants to just pick on. So she could decide to pick on Fury, and that could, distract Fury from her ultimate goal at that point. but she has a bone to pick with Chainsaw that seems a little bit more pressing because these are two monsters. So, and they're supernatural monsters at that. So we just have to wait and see how that's going to go. But I am very intrigued because I just want to see who's going to, be on top as the top, dark magic girl. So that was really interesting. But Fury came out with the win. So congratulations to her. She is the heavy metal sister. Yeah, that was amazing. So, before we get to our main event, we did have a promo slash segment where we saw Coach Campanelli walking downstairs to the locker room, and she knocked on the door and found Ariel Sky holding a clipboard with girls who were screaming in excitement because tryouts are going on. And of course, when there are cheer tryouts, everybody is very cheerful and very peppy and very happy. So that's what was happening. And then coach had to close the door for a minute because she was like kind of overwhelmed, but she was like, all right, let's do this. And then she opened the door and then started back again. And for every time a new person came in to present themselves in front of her and Ariel Sky, she kept blowing the whistle. And it was really funny to see Ariel Sky kind of cover her ears over and over again because she got irritated with it. And I was just like, Ariel, you don't have to stand right next to her. You can move out the way. But she didn't do it. And she just kept standing next to her and kept suffering with the whistle. Like, oh my God, it was funny. But the girls who did come in, some of them really did, impress with what they had to offer, like with their cartwheels and, their backflips and stuff. And then you also had a couple of girls who were coming in just to look cute because they did have one girl dressed in pink with this beautiful curly hair. She looked like she was a black woman. And she just came in and just started doing like a cute little pose or whatever. And coach was just like, move on. And that was funny. And then you also had another girl who was very, voluptuous in looks, and she came in and tried to, hit a herky, but then she fell and hit the couch. And might I say, I love their couch with all their pillows with all the wow decorations on it. Like it's just really pretty. And I'm just like, and the coloring of it, it's just so beautiful. I love it. But yeah, like the tryouts seem to be going okay. So after that point, all the girls got back in the line and coach made them, run some laps. So I'm sure they probably ran the laps outside and stuff. So off screen, the tryouts continue. So that was just a really fun little segment that they had in there. So Katrina, how did you feel about Coach Campanelli's tryouts for Team Spirit?
I liked it. I definitely did get the frustrated vibe. I don't know. I'm not sure why is it too overwhelming. Maybe it's too many people. But again, this is why I said a little bit earlier that I'm curious to see how this is going to play out because she didn't necessarily look like she was really into it as much as it felt like it was more done in like resignation, like okay, let's just get it done kind of vibes, and it didn't give me the excited that I would have gotten from her, let's say like last season. And so I'm curious that how this is going to play out is if she even decides to get any new recruits. I will see. What if she feels like it's best not to add any? And so we'll see. And so I think her attitude seemed a bit like, whatever. I said I'll do it, so I'll do it. But I didn't get the excitement about it. The fact that Ariel had the clipboard, she seemed more enthused about this to me than Coach Campanelli did. But I do like that we saw a little bit difference in some of the people that were there. That it was like you think of any like tryout cheerleader movie, you got that one person you're like, what exactly are you doing? Like, and these marks, like, are we really, like, are you serious? And I felt like we got a few of those girls in there where it was clearly meant to just be there. Like, one of those situations like that this person probably shouldn't be trying to join any team. But, here we are. Like, just make sure everybody tries out kind of vibes. That's kind of the vibes I got from it. But I thought it was a really cute segment.
What's so funny? You saying that, about cheer squad vibes and those cheer movies, like it just reminds me of when I took hip hop dance. So, for those who don't know, once upon a time, I took ballet in kindergarten, and then I also took hip hop dance like when I was in middle school. And our dance teacher, shout out to Nahaya Somerville, she was the best hip hop dance teacher ever. She was also a cheerleading coach, and she had this gym called Top Notch Athletics down here. It was in Hueytown, which is not that far from where I live. And she was really intense, but not like intense in a toxic way. And she was the best teacher, and I enjoyed taking hip hop dance so much. much. But because she was also coaching the cheerleading squad, she was also like in like while we were learning hip hop, she would have us incorporate lots of cheerleader moves like toe touches, and herkies and a lot of different things, and train us on doing splits and stuff. So seeing stuff like that just reminds me of that special time in my life, because I'll never forget how we went to the U.S. Spirit competition, at Universal Studios in Florida, and we won third place. And I was upset because I wanted to win first, and I practiced real hard. But whatever, I mean, it's okay. But I mean, I was upset. You hear me? Like I was crying, but whatever. Third place is third place. I just wanted to win, y'all. I'm a perfectionist. But but it was so amazing to watch these, dancers and cheerleaders, hit all of these, intricate moves and these amazing, routines, kind of like in Bring It On and kind of like in movies like Step Up and stuff like that. Like, and those were the type of movies that were popular back then. There was always a new dance movie, always a new cheerleader movie coming out. And they were always interesting. Now, of course, it's debatable because a lot of people love the Bring It On series up to a certain point, which I completely understand. But at the same time, like it was just a special time for me. And so seeing all of that happen was just like, oh man, look at that. And it just reminded me of my middle school existence. But then I had to quit hip hop dance because I started high school and I wanted to do choir. So there was that. So yeah, it was just really amazing to see that. But Katrina, to your point about Coach Campanelli not being as enthusiastic about the tryouts, I just thought about something. What if Coach Campanelli turned heel and started a beef with Ariel Sky and decides that she just wants to be the superior coach over everybody? Wouldn't that be some sick stuff? Because she always thinks that she's the wisest one out of everybody. And it's like if none of the people on her team listen to her, she gets really upset about it, or she takes their voice and their autonomy away, like she used to do with Randy Rah Rah. So a part of me is like, what would happen if, she does all the tryouts and then she makes the announcement of who's going to be the next girl, and then it turns out to be nobody, and then she hits Ariel Sky in the head and says nobody's good enough because I'm the superior girl, I'm the coach, blah. Like, wouldn't that be crazy?
Yes or no? I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if she did. Because she's kind of, there was times where I was like, in last season, I'm like, I don't know how you talking kind of crazy. It would be me personally. Uh, I wouldn't be getting talked to like that if I was trying, like if we're talking and you're talking to me like I don't know anything. I don't like that kind of stuff. So I don't know, but if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised honestly, because like I said, I didn't really get the enthusiasm, and could it have been because she had a match before that? Yeah, it could have been, but I don't know. It just, I didn't get the vibes that she was really excited to have anybody new join the team.
Yeah, like that's a very astute observation. See, I just thought she was just overwhelmed and that she was just maintaining her cool, because in those situations, I've seen people, in auditions, have a straight face. Like when you go into audition for something, you have to have a straight face and not let on that you either like what they're doing or don't like what they're doing. You have to be like neutral. So I thought maybe she was being neutral, but what you had to say really does, add a pretty creative wrinkle to things. Like that would be really funny if that happened. But yeah, that was a really cool segment and I enjoyed it. But we just have to see what happens, right? So yeah, big ups to the people trying out for Team Spirit. It's cool. So after that, we had Big Rig Betty and Holly Swag antagonizing Lana Star with those handcuffs, and she was really irritated about that. And that, of course, led us to our main event, which was Miami Sweet Heat and Las Bandidas. And of course, the thing about this that irritated me was Miami Sweet Heat came out there knowing full well that Lana Star was going to have to be handcuffed. So what did they do? They brought extra reinforcements in the form of Vicky Lynn McCoy and my arch nemesis, Penelope Pink. I didn't trust that at all. I didn't trust it. Even though they wound up sitting there for commentary, I still didn't trust it. And I was just like, girl, y'all just can't do nothing without them. And then Sophia Lopez was out there. And of course, she's only, Tormenta doesn't come out there when she's out there with Las Bandidas. So she was just out there on her own, being handcuffed to Holly Swag, whereas Lana was handcuffed to Big Red Betty. And you could tell that throughout the match, Sophia and Lana were so frustrated that they couldn't get involved in that match. But it was for the betterment of both of these tag teams because what we got action wise out of Las Bandidas and the Carlson sisters was fantastic in terms of in ring work and tag team chemistry. It was fantastic. See, this just goes to show you that Miami Sweet Heat really doesn't need the Fab Four. Like, we've been saying this since season one of Superheroes last year. They don't really need the Fab Four behind them because they are an amazing tag team in and of themselves. Like, they were dominant throughout the first half of that match, tripping up Vivian Rivera, beating up on her and all of the above. But of course, Las Bandidas also fought back and got really fierce with them because as the referee was distracted with Lindsay in this picture, Lori got slapped in the face while Vivian was holding on to her and pressing her boot into her back. Like, this was just a fantastic match all around. Lindsay and Lori were operating in their superpowers. Like, it was just fantastic. They were just, destroying each other. Like, I loved this match from top to bottom. But where we wound up, oh, hey, Ricky, where we wound up, falling, out at was as the match ended, I believe Miami Sweet Heat wound up winning the match, but afterward, all of the Fab Four proceeded to beat up on Las Banditas, and then they also wound up beating up on the Mother Truckers because they were dissing them the entire time the match was going on commentary. They were calling them hillbillies and hicks, and I was just like, y'all are really rude to them, and I'm gonna need for y'all to chill. And then they were also dissing Steven and dissing David. Like, at one point, freaking Vicky Lynn McCoy had this line where she said she told David, she was like, do they pay you by the word? Because you do not shut up. And David was like, well, I'm the host of the show. I have to keep talking. And I'm just like, Vicky, why are you so mean? Like, that was just so terrible. Like, they were just mean to them the whole time. And then as they proceeded to attack the Mother Truckers, they took the handcuffs off of Lana Star and then handcuffed Big Rig Betty while beating her up to the rope and proceeded to beat up on Holly Swag. And this was really one of the most heartbreaking parts, one of the most heartbreaking endings to WoW I had ever seen because they were ganging up on Holly Swag and just beating up on her, stomping on her and everything. And Big Rig Betty only able to watch. She couldn't interfere or help or anything like that. She was helpless to her child as all of these women are jumping on her and beating her up and mocking her. And it was just the worst ending, not worst as in quality, but worst as in what was going on story-wise to WoW superheroes that I've seen in a minute. Like, it was just heartbreaking because I'm not a mother, but I know what my mother would have done in that situation. My mom would have tried with all of her might to try to get loose from that bottom rope and destroy all those women. Shout out to Sephra. That's my mom. My mom was just a really tough woman, and I just know, like, she really, if it was either me or my sister, she would have found a way to try to get loose from those. And if she couldn't have, she would have waited for them in the parking lot and then beat them all up afterward. But this was really rough to watch, and this was how the episode of WoW Superheroes ended. So, Katrina, someone who is a amazing super mother to three amazing children, how did this make you feel to watch this happen to the Mother Truckers?
Up until that, it was a good match. I thought that, Miami Sweet Heat definitely proved that they really, like, not like, it's obviously it's nothing like having some to back up, if you really need it. But I feel like this kind of showed that they really didn't need them. I thought they had some matches with Tongas that they showed they really didn't need them. So I don't know why they felt the need to bring out Vicky or Penelope, but here we are. Yes, as a mom personally, I mean, I don't think I would have even allowed myself to be handcuffed, honestly. So I like, you would have to put me down to handcuff me in that situation. I feel like I say this jokingly, but not jokingly all the time. I'm a crazy mom, and so I will burn anything down for my kitties. That's like partially joking, partially not. I will burn everything down for them. quick, no questions. Like I'm like, all right, for them. And so as a then Holly's a lot older than my kids, so I can't, I know how I am now. It's funny, like, I not that they can't handle themselves when they get adults, I'm sure they would be able to, but even when they are old enough to kind of take care of themselves, I'm going to still be even probably smaller than all of them, as two are already about my height, if not my height. I feel like even with that being what it is, I'm still gonna be like, you did what to my babies? Like, okay, I don't think that's the smartest move. I don't think that's the smartest choice to make. Not with me, at least, because I'm definitely a crazy mom. And so, yeah, in that regard, yeah, that wouldn't have. We would have to been like, you have to knock me out to get me handcuffed in that situation, because I felt like you can tell that's where they were gonna go with it. And like I feel like, again, maybe he's me being extra. But I feel like I would have peeped that if that's what's happening, and I know absolutely not. And so I'm just like, if that had to be a situation, like, okay, so I'm taking you out. Like, we probably not gonna win it, but I ain't like, I probably like logically not gonna win like a 4 or 5 on 1 person, but okay, like that's not smart. Like vibes with my babies, and so in that regard, I was like, damn, like, oh no. Like, we would have to like fight for real after that. And I think this is why I can't be a wrestler. Because I know me enough to know that, even though I know it's like supposed to be for storyline purposes, like, we doing what? With my like, and automatically that's where I'm going. I'm automatically going to like, no, we're not. Like, I don't care what this says. I don't care what you think we're doing. Like, no, we're not. And so this is why I'm not a wrestler, guys. So yeah, I thought it was a good match up until that. It was unfortunate, and I hope Big Ring Betty can get some payback, because if this was my kid, I most certainly, like, it's gonna be those situations like, I'm gonna be waiting for you like in the parking lot. It's gonna be like the NXT parking lot. I'm waiting. Like, okay, this device would have played. Look at this, where we would go with this. But otherwise, outside of that very unfortunate thing, it was a solid match.
Yeah, it really was a solid tag team match. But what I will say is this, though. The Fab Four, I did not think the Fab Four could reach a new level of low because, of course, Stephen Dickey was talking about how Lana Star didn't really have any really good morals, considering the last bad thing she did was steal the world title away from Princess Aussie, and she wasn't allowed to have her moment after she had beaten Tormenta and Penelope Pink in that triple threat match. And Penelope just talking about, well, she was taking my title like it's mine and da 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 da. Da. Now, I already thought that they were trash people, but now they have reached a new level of trash because you attacked this woman in front of her mom and you handcuffed her. The mother truckers were already angry and had a chip on their shoulder because they had been to jail twice at the hands of Sophia Lopez. Now I just don't feel sorry for anything that Big Rig Betty will do to them after the fact. I don't feel sorry for that at all. Like, I wouldn't surprise if next week we see her and then she winds up attacking them in the alley, which would be like a big form of karma for them because they just love to attack people behind their back and in the alley and stuff like that. And I'm just like, no, like, if Big Rig Betty catches you outside and catches you with a crowbar or something like that, then I wouldn't blame her at all. Because you ladies are grimy and dirty. It's like y'all pretend like y'all are just so fancy with all of your cars and all your Beverly Hills connections and all the other stuff. But at the end of the day, y'all are just as mean and as grimy and as evil as everybody else. And it is just ugly. And y'all be thinking like the whole world revolves around y'all because y'all are cute. And it's just like, that's not how life works, ma'am. That's not how life works. So because that's not how life works, I'm gonna need for Big Rig Betty to get up off of whatever sad level she's on and destroy them all, obliterate them. Like, I don't care if she has to enlist the help of the Beast to do it, because of course next week we will see the Beast and Vicky Lynn McCoy in an unsanctioned match, and I am excited about that. But if she has to enlist the help of the Beast and everybody else to do it, then I am here for it. Destroy the Fab Four, just completely destroy them, because they have just lowball themselves into the seventh circle of hell, and I need them to pay. So that's the end of this episode of WoW Superheroes. It was fantastic this weekend. Of course, a new episode will be coming out this weekend. Of course, check your local listings for where it comes on for you. Go on wowe.com and check out what listings it is for you based off of your zip code or what city you live in. If you live in the state of Alabama, it comes on My 68 on Saturdays at 6 p.m. And I do know they do show a little bit of reruns a little bit later on, like at around midnight, if you want to catch that. But if you want to watch it in the daytime, like I do, it comes on at 6 p.m. on Saturdays or 8 p.m. if it's not preempted by a random sport, because we're Alabama, we care about sports. So yeah, check that out and just continue to support WoW Superheroes and women's wrestling as a whole across all brands. This has been fantastic. Katrina, thank you for joining me as always to talk about this show. Tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on.
I'm on most social medias in Cat We Trust, Threads, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. The E is a 3. I will be taking my NXT show next week. So this Thursday will be the last NXT show on in Cat We Trust and on the Big Pop Theory. I'm going with Shay to Body Slam to talk NXT, which will follow directly on Tuesdays after NXT, which I haven't done a direct after show in like forever. So this is going to be like interesting because normally mine's is always a few days after show airs. So check that out. I do have some new interviews coming out, so check that out as well. Catch me on Daily DDT and on Wrestle Obsessive. That's where most of my writing is at the moment. And that's it. Just catch me up on social media. And if you're in Chicago, almost forgot, if you are in Chicago on Survivor Series the weekend, like a week and a half, then come say hi, tell me who you are, love to meet you. But that's it, basically.
Absolutely. And congratulations to you and Shay, because you two have become like the dynamic duo when it comes to NXT. So I'm so happy that your metaphor show on bodyslam.net is going to be a thing and people get to see how passionate you guys are about NXT on that platform. So congratulations, for that, because that did become public just,
Thank
before we
you.
went on. So I just have to say congratulations for that. And yeah, so of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and X/Twitter and Threads at Queen Steph Hardy. Follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on X/Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get those subscriber numbers up, and you can watch every episode of Steph and Cat Talk WoW that we have ever done in a playlist that I created, and it's called Steph and Cat Talk WoW. So you can, it's easy to look for it in that way. You can watch it on her channel as well, on Katrina's In Cat We Trust channel too. And just be supportive of the brand because we are doing big things. Just like Katrina, I will be in Chicago for Survivor Series weekend. We're both doing media, and it's a really exciting time. It's something that we have worked really hard for, and it's a blessed time to be a wrestling fan. So to be able to be here for one of the big four pay-per-views where all of this amazing stuff is going on, like, it's an honor to be chosen to be a part of it, and hopefully in the future we'll have more opportunities like it. It's cool. And also check out all of my writings on Daily DDT as well, because me and Katrina are always in the same place somehow. It's beautiful. I love it. But yeah, I'm on Daily DDT. My newest article was released tonight before we went on, and it's on Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes' split and how it will break the hearts of the NXT universe. And baby, it will. If you've been watching them from the beginning, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. So I'm going to talk about why it's going to hurt. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being supportive of Steph and Cat Talk WoW. And we will be back for a new episode next week, maybe, because I know next week is the week of Thanksgiving. So we've got all that going on. So, and of course, we're prepping for travel. So we got to figure that out. So yeah, hopefully we'll be on. But if we're not on, don't charge it to us. It's because we've got stuff going on. So in the meantime, enjoy Monday Night Raw. Enjoy this week in wrestling and take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye.